Welcome back to the podcast. Today we got my friend Rob Torres in the building. What's up, dude?
Just jamming, man. I'm glad I got to make it out.
Yeah, bro. It's cool. It's like we were chatting last week about trying to make it happen in that because I know you're from Miami. So
Yeah.
how's the trip been?
Dude, it's been good. It's been like very like all over the place, but it's funny today. I was like, I'm gonna go out to Irvine, go lifetime out here.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, dude, perfect. I know you're in Orange, so I was like,
Yes, sir. I know. And
I
I messaged you, and I was like, I was thinking about messaging you since like last night. I was like, oh, I've got to follow up because I think he wants to do it. And you messaged me. Thank you.
No.
I'm glad we were able to make it happen.
It's just meant to be.
Are you on a work trip right now, or is it a fun trip?
work trip. Yeah. So I'm out here with the client, Music Swipe. They're a music tech company, Discovery Music. Yeah. So.
And you kind of mentioned, but you're going to SoFi to do it.
Yeah, Saturday or Sunday. Sorry.
So during the game, is it a home game? So yeah, the home.
Yeah,
right?
home game. Yeah,
Dude,
so they're
that's
basically
gonna be so cool.
A little sweet party. Have content creators in the place, and just make sure we get the right, not just content deliverables, but also highlight clips and stuff like that. So
now that's a really unique concept to sell. What's the deliverables kind of going on that?
Highlight reel, really pretty much, kind of like an event recap. Yeah. There's shorts that we also like to grab, whether that's for ads or for testimonials for the product itself. So we'll usually I feel like I find myself directing the talent or the people there, even if they're just random guests, like, hey, can you come over here real quick and give us a clip, and grab one of the videographers and just like, hey, capture this. And so kind of just helping with that.
Yeah, well, you're producing the shoot.
Yeah,
like even though it's supposed to be like organic, even though it is organic and fun and feel, but you still have to kind of produce the moments.
You have to capture moments, yeah.
That's the funniest misconception about video production, like as a whole. When you go out to say, like I used to shoot a lot of restaurants, and they would want like people in it and like smiles and stuff. This is back when I was at Food Beast. Yeah, and you know what Food Beast is?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Food media company. So I used to be a producer. That was like my first job.
That's awesome.
And like part of the thing is like if there's people in the video, like you have to coach them.
Yeah.
Like they're eating they're eating and they're just like.
Yeah.
You need to smile and laugh, and our energy's up here. Or I'd go to like a bar or something and be like, I'm shooting for the bar, and I'm like, hey, we're gonna take shots, and they're like, I was like, no, like laugh,
like
fun, okay, like almost treat it like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You experience that too?
Well, that's the hardest thing, because like I think a lot of people don't understand, like you as either producer or a part of the video team, like dictate the energy of a shoot, or like of the energy of the person that you're shooting. Like it's sometimes we'll have personal brand clients, and you can tell if they're having an off day. We have to help them kind of like change up their energy, and maybe do some jumping jacks, walk around, get them hyped up, because that'll dictate how the content looks. And if
absolutely,
it's hard,
if the content's bad, it's coming back to you.
Yeah, you're like, it's your fault.
Like,
oh, it's not my fault you didn't sleep last night.
That's one of the funniest things about content, though, is that it's so much on your mood that you're almost like a mental health manager, you're a content manager, you're like a structural manager, you're putting all the team together. It's like,
it's a lot.
It's a full life coaching job.
But it's cool. No, yeah, it's funny. I work with a lot of life coaches, and I'm like, I feel like I'm coaching you
bro.
on how to create content.
Seriously,
but also
seriously. And the funny thing about content is bro, it's hard to do on your own, which is why we both have jobs, right?
Yeah, it's so true. I mean, you could do it at a level on your own, but it's nowhere near where the competitive market is right now. And
yes.
That's why we have jobs.
The scale, the quality,
yeah.
Direction, creative strategy.
Yeah. Even quality of, the cameras that you're rocking with, the footage. Like a lot of people think, oh, the newest iPhone's super great. Yeah, but like to a certain client type.
Dude, that's probably my biggest like frustration with the iPhone type. I made a video. Thank you, Luke. I made a video a while ago. JT Barnett, do you follow him?
I saw that video.
I love. Well, first of all, JT, I love you.
He's creative.
Yeah, he's really cool. But his take on like the iPhone only creators, I'm like, no, like it's not going to happen, because you're always going to have a market of people who want better than that.
A lot of the market wants better than that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot of content creators that can totally get away with that for the rest of their careers. Yeah. But even them, I'm seeing them explore the FX30, the FX, and I'm like, it's a production camera.
Eventually, you graduate.
Yeah.
As a creator, you're going to naturally graduate and gravitate to the next big thing.
Exactly, because you want to just make it better. Right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I was like, and again, I do follow him. I do like that guy. Like JT, is it Barnett? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think it's Barrett. Yeah.
Yeah.
Something
like that, yeah. He's awesome. I love what he's about. I love his his whole message. But like, I was like the one thing I was like, because if iPhone really thought that, they'd shoot their own ads on iPhone.
Exactly.
And they're not doing that.
No way.
So,
but there's a market, there's a niche that he's speaking to, and there's also a niche that you speak
exactly.
to. So
it's different. And like he crushes in his space, and I think I crush in my space. I mean, I'm working on my audience, and he's obviously got a massive audience. But,
yeah.
If you want to come on the show, holler at me, bro.
It's a good one.
No, he's cool. But so we're both in the creative space and the content space. What are you doing right now? What are you working on? What do you see for this industry?
The agency, still obviously focusing on that, really trying to take an approach where it's a little bit non-traditional. I think, I had a desire to create, the big building and like have a huge employees and that whole thing. And I think it was Gary Vee really glorified that and made it cool. And I think
big VaynerMedia building.
Yeah, it's super sexy.
Yeah.
But the more I actually started doing things like hiring and doing offices here and there, it's like, I really don't want to do that. I want to create a big team and have a big brand, a big agency, but I don't want to do it the traditional way because it just doesn't make sense for 2023. And I think employees and people that are working for you, especially because they're mostly young and in the creative space and see the other opportunities and freedoms, they don't want that route. And it's going to become less and less attractive. And if you could build something sustainable with a good operation, a good flow, you have not just a good blueprint, but you'll have a good business and also a good blueprint for people to kind of like mimic or kind of try to recreate. So that's kind of where I'm at with the agency. I have a few other projects, some software companies that I'm an equity partner in, also created myself that are just also serving this space. But a little bit of that, a little bit of this. So.
Yeah. Let me tell me this, a fun question. What are you most proud of this year from a work standpoint?
Oh man, so much. Honestly, I would definitely have to say the development of one of my clients, actually, Music Swipe. We've definitely evolved them a lot from like just over the last 2 years, but really this year, just kind of evolving the idea forward. Been focusing a lot working with them and just kind of like giving them my all in every which way I can.
Yeah.
And so I'm just super proud of that progress. But also just, the software job pay that I mentioned, that's something, that tool that I as an agency really would need. And I've tried other tools, Clockify and a few hub staffs in the world, and they just didn't do it right like I wanted it. So me and my partner created the solution that I think is going to help not just agencies, but a lot of people hiring remotely. And then you create the marketplace for creators, right?
Yeah.
I need to hire creators for UGC style videos, testimonials, and where do I find them? Fiverr?
Yeah.
I guess, but is there a better solution? So I kind of try to create that. So
you're super proud of those, and those are both of your ventures right now.
Yeah.
And job pay, and you create marketplace.
Yep.
That's
super
tight.
Cool. Yeah,
that's tight. What is job? So you kind of gave me the brief rundown, but what is job pay?
So think of it like as a productivity measurement, but also as an international hiring and payment solutions platform. So when it comes to hiring someone in Venezuela, Philippines, how do you contract them legally? How do you pay them? Obviously there's platforms like Payoneer, but like, are they all in one place where you can measure their productivity, pay them, have contracts in place so you're legally binding the right, so like that's the platform we built for that. So it's very much encompassing 2023. Like, how do we scale globally and do it appropriately? So
that's really cool.
hard, and I give it to my partner from a development standpoint. Super crazy development. It took us like a whole year to develop.
Yeah, because like right now, all you can really do is like hire like an agency to do it for you.
Exactly. Or
so there's no real hands-on work there.
Yeah, you just basically pay them a lot of money to hire for you. Yeah. But this is, you have an option. We could help you hire them, or you can hire them directly yourself, and we provide the tools and contracts and all the things for you to do it appropriately. So
yeah, that's super cool, man. That's super cool. What about from like a client project standpoint? Has there been any big big wins or any like cool stuff that you made that you're like, I really like this?
I like a lot of my stuff. It's something that I don't know if I could be specific, but personal brand stuff I really enjoy. I think one of the clients early on, Ed Milet, like building out his story and really sharing it. Yeah. I guess from an executive perspective, I see myself as a businessman and I want to be a great businessman someday. So like getting to work with them and helping tell their story helps me kind of like learn a lot from them. But also, so I have a client right now, Eric Dalius, and trying to just tell his story as a businessman and kind of continuing that storytelling for him and his brand. His goal was $1 billion, right? Yeah. So like, how can I tell his story digitally? And so like, I just love that stuff, man. It's super like working with, I don't want to just say high net worth individuals, but like people that are doing big things. Like I love that.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it motivates the shit out of me. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. I love Ed Milet. We were talking about it earlier, but Arte Syndicate, I'm part of his coaching group, him and Andy. And
that's awesome.
You mentioned you were like there when they had the idea. Like, what was that
back like 17, 18? Yeah, I think we flew in from, we took the private jet with Ed Milet to Andy's spot.
Okay.
They did a podcast, and actually after the podcast, we were just jamming on this idea of like a little mastermind group, and it ends up being that. Fast forward a couple of years, I'm like, wow.
So you were in person when Andy Purcell and Ed Milet were like, we should have a mastermind group.
Yeah, they were talking about this whole mastermind, Arte Syndicate, and I remember that it's very closely.
That's
insane.
So cool, bro. Yeah. So what prompted them to have a podcast together at that time?
Obviously, Ed Milet was just kicking off his social. Like he was not who he is now. Back like 6-7 years ago, he was very 300,000 followers. A lot of them came in WFG, so like the MLM space.
Yep.
Very loyal following. For engagement, but he wanted to expand past that. He wanted to really become a business entrepreneur online. And so we had to, content, podcast, because we knew that was the way.
Yep.
And his connections and his relationships got us some great guests.
Yeah.
So Andy was one of them. And
so he was connected with someone else, and then that's how they kind of.
I don't remember to the T the exact logistics on how we ended up with Andy, but I know that was one of the trips that we were excited about. We're like, we're flying into Missouri. We're gonna go.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Which is really cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. So
because I know they've known each other for a long time. Like you listen to Andy's old MFCEO Project podcast, and he talks about Ed Mylett the whole time, which is how I even found out about Ed Mylett.
Wild.
But they must have done the podcast even before that.
Must have been. I don't remember exactly, but it was like, if I were to date correctly, between 15 and 17, maybe even a little bit, probably around there, 15 to 17.
That's so dope. And you probably got to meet a bunch of cool people.
Yeah. I mean, David Goggins, Tony Robbins, not Tony Robbins, sorry, but, a lot of just great, like a lot of great guests. Like either he went with the podcast or he did guest speaking with or whatever. So, I mean, it's funny how you start to meet individuals. Like I had Tim Grover at his house and we were taking shots for, I think it was his birthday, and just like, and then I don't know who Randall Pitch for Live Fit, that one clothing pair one.
Tim Grover's Did Tim Grover take a shot with you?
Yeah.
So
it was awesome.
How is he in real? Okay, wait. Two things. I want to come back to the first one, but how is Tim Grover in real life? Because he just seems so
very passionate. Like that's all I can remember is really passion behind what he said and how he said it. And so, like obviously he's worked with some of the most passionate people in the world. Yeah. So it's like what he says is like his truth, and it's really true, right? And so I just got a lot of inspiration from him, a lot of a lot of experience. You see that guy,
but it's like when I see someone like Tim Grover, I don't ever see that person taking a shot or really letting loose. So is he just like a human? Is he?
He's super cool. Yeah, very normal.
So he lets loose on a Friday night every once in a while.
Cheersing with Ed and me and him. It was just it was normal. Like as normal as can be. Like 1942, I remember.
Dude, that's it was super cool. Did you read his book?
No, actually, I have not.
Yeah,
I have not.
Oh God, what's the name of the first one? What's Tim Grover's first book, or first or second book? The most recent book, actually.
Relentless.
That's it. Yeah,
I might have done some audio from it. I don't remember reading the whole thing though, for sure. And that's not because I don't like reading. I just didn't have for sure. Yeah, but
I read Relentless, and it was like it's just so intense the way he lives, talking about cleaners.
Yeah,
I was like, bro, are you just like you do not celebrate anything? You just work hard all the time.
It's insane.
But like, is that how he is?
Well, I would say that's probably who was building his career, right?
Yeah.
Now he's a little bit more on the, I don't want to say the back end, but he's, building a personal brand and speaking engagements. And so he has a social element to what he does.
That makes sense.
So, I don't know what his social life is. I remember, but just like a lot of the stuff that you probably read in Relentless, I heard him talk about in person. It was like insane. Yeah. It was just like, just the things I sit through the podcast, right? So it's like I sit through there just listening to these guys talk about.
That's probably the coolest thing.
It is.
Who was your favorite guest that Ed had on that you got to just like hang out with?
I think Andy. Honestly, Andy was just super.
Dude, he's the man, bro.
He's just like the man. Yeah. Yeah. Just like his realness and his rawness. Like he's someone I really respect as an online entrepreneur and businessman.
Yeah. He's really Andy Purcell is really painting a new way, like a necessary way right now, kind of saying the thing.
Staying true to your roots, It's something very admirable because a lot of people, when they get to that level of success, kind of buy into the glam, buy into their own bull type of deal. But he's always been like, none of the bull. Like, I'm who I am.
Really cool about him.
Very admirable. I've worked with a lot of people that are very high levels, and like you do see them kind of evolve a little bit because they've achieved newer levels. But I feel like Andy's like the guy that will, no matter if he's Jeff Bezos, he'll still be the same dude living in Missouri.
He just change, and he's doing really well.
Yeah, no, for sure, he has to be doing well over 500 million in revenue. Like it's just his company's huge, and I like to see his model from an affiliate perspective is just next level. Like I really like to study the people I work with and like what they do and how they do, then how they grow their business. And I think what he did with First Form and the affiliate side is like unreal, and everyone should try to study it because he did it really well. And it's funny, I had a guy that I went to college with working for Andy, and it's just so happened to be that like I ended up seeing Andy later on in life, and I'm like, so I got some little insights on when they were building First Form and just from my buddy that worked there.
You got to catch up with him?
Yeah, so like he was just one of Andy's first couple employees, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. We went to college together.
Seems so I've met him before, so I know he's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
At this summit.
Yeah.
But he's like, I feel like he's super cool if you ask him the right question. If you're just like, what's up, man? How you doing? Really good. But if you were like, I don't know, he's just so like up and down, right? Tense, right?
Yeah. So if you're like, you got to be like a man when you talk to him.
Yeah,
it's like he's like,
do not out.
Because he probably has so many fans and so many people that come up to him, and he's
like don't fan out.
Yeah,
but like just like
authentic.
Keep it real.
Yeah, because he probably feel it too.
Yeah.
He's probably so used to like engagements and stuff. Where
but he's amazing. Like when I was at the summit, the Arte summit, his and Ed's table, and then like their wives and stuff, they were right next to ours, and I sat down, just tired from traveling and like sitting. So I'm sitting down, and the first thing that he did is get up and just shake as many possible hands as he could. Awesome. So he shook my hand, and I was just like, dude, thank you. changed my
awesome.
life. Like, 'cause he did change my life. Like, I was
Yeah.
on a really terrible track before I came across MFCO project.
No way.
And dude, he's like, dude, yeah, like that's amazing. Like, what made the change? Like, what do you think was the difference? And I was like, he's cool. And he just did that over and over and over and over and over.
That's
so,
admirable.
Like, so he is like pretty legit.
Yeah, no, like a lot of people won't do that. They won't like take the time to actually talk to each individual person. So like, shout out to Andy, man. I think keep doing what you're doing, because I think that sets a model for, you know, maybe us in the future when we get to be like at that level and be like, we have people we admire because like they did things that we know were right or good for others, right? And so like that's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Ed Marlette, what was like the scope of work you guys did there?
Started off with a DM to him from one of our production guys, say, hey, we'll make some videos for you. And I remember showing up the first time, and we were at his house in Laguna, and just, it was content, right? It was just like personal brand content videos about him talking about different things. And it evolved into the podcast. It evolved into social media management, managing his platforms, you know, talking about multi-platform, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, like all of it, right? So content creation, distribution, then we started going into like growth hacks, advertising, you know, you name it. So we were pretty much heavy into like, he was one of our bigger clients, and we spent a lot of time with him, put a lot of energy and effort into, you know, making sure that we could do our best.
Very cool.
We were still a young company though, so we didn't do everything perfectly. We were for sure learning.
Yeah, because how long ago was this?
This was like a while ago, like 6-7 years ago, honestly.
So
Yeah.
And he was just, like you said,
He was just kicking off,
build his kind of platform.
Yeah, so I think it was a blessing in disguise. It was like DM worked, and he's just
one of your guys on your team just like,
shout out Nico Rhoda. Like, he's actually a good friend. He's still a partner in the agency to this day. So cool. He decided to take a little bit of a hiatus and gone to live in Thailand for the last 3-4 years.
Sure. Yeah.
So he's living out there,
cool.
enjoying his life. But yeah, no, we still stay in touch. We're still very close. And yeah, it was just a DM from him, and that kind of sparked it. And that's led into a lot, man. That's led into a lot of other relationships, a lot of other clients, a lot of other business opportunities. So very grateful for that. And yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, super crazy.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So what do you think, like, what do you think the future of content is right now, man? Like, there's a lot of, the two things that I see is like, it's so necessary, and there's still some people that are doing none of it. So are we like, in 5 years, it's like everyone's doing it. It's just like, how much are people doing? And what do you see like AI's role in that? So
everyone doing it is almost like everyone that wants to do something business-wise or personal brand or just is going to have to do it, right? Yeah. At what level they do it is really going to be kind of like their investment or their choice. Sure. Will there be successful people that don't invest a lot into crazy production? Sure. For sure, right? Yeah. You know, I have a lot of friends in the production space that are production heavy and they do great work. Seeing that play out on social and at the pace that we're at currently in social, it's kind of hard for me to see that continuing, in the sense of like, call it a $50,000 1-minute video production, right?
Right.
They're great for businesses like ours, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I think the market's starting to better understand like UGC, organic style content, BTS, like all of that really matters. And so will that die out? I think it'll lessen. I don't think it'll eventually die. I think there's still a place for it, right? Yeah. You have traditional mediums, you have, you know, levels of production that people want to see for their brand because it entices a certain feeling or, you know, image. Yeah. But yeah, I think you'll see less of it, because I think, you know, now it's all about distribution and speed. Yeah. How much can you get out, how fast? And when you're talking about editing a video for 2 weeks, it's going to be posted once. Yeah. Or, you know, we have some clients that we do big productions for, and they'll run this advertising traffic. We'll just run it for ads for the whole year. There you go. Yeah. So there's different ways to use it, of course. So there's always going to be a place for it, but I just think it's evolving heavily on like the amount of attention is needed and the amount of output. Like we mentioned earlier, podcasts are great because you can get how much content out of it? A ton.
Yeah, no, right? Dude, for real. And I think that's kind of where everyone's at, is like, how do we get the most bang for our buck? Even though there is a difference, like a highly edited ad for a brand is going to be different than. Yeah,
it'll cause a different reaction on the internet for sure. And I think, you know, it's, you know, the whole creative fatigue, that is another variable, which if you're at this level, call it the Louis Vuittons of the world, creating amazing masterpieces, like you just have to create more of those.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, because you're not going to lessen the image, right?
Yeah. Are you worried at all about AI in the video production space?
I love it. I don't know. Love AI? I love AI because it's increased productivity for us. You know, like what, for example, a podcast would take us 2-3 days to edit. Yeah. Now it takes a couple hours. Not even, you know, like with Autopod, I'm sure you're familiar with it. Yeah, no,
I have Autopod, but I haven't used it yet. So what is
Start playing with it. It's basically, it helps you take a timeline multicam and dices it according to the conversation being had. It's very intelligent.
Do you need to make the timeline multicam, or will it do it for you?
So you basically put in your I'm not an editor, so I don't know, but I've seen them do it. Multiple different camera angles.
Okay.
And then you have to just basically time them, start and finish at the same times,
Okay.
sync them in that sense,
Yep.
and then just start shopping.
So we have these two angles
Yeah.
on a timeline. Everything's
Start and
synced in
finish.
already. You
Yeah.
you hit multipod, or you like I have it
Yeah.
on. I have the extension literally on Premiere, but it'll just do it.
Yeah. It's
Bro.
cool. It's awesome. It's like, I'm like, wow, we could do way more podcasts now.
Bro, we're gonna do way more podcasts.
Yeah.
So it just cuts out the angles, and now the editor just needs to go in and tighten it up.
Just polish it up. Yeah. And it's actually really well done. Like if you have 2 audio tracks, that's what it requires. You
Yeah.
can't really use 1 audio track.
Yeah.
Dude, it does a phenomenal job. It's like,
If you have
wow.
2 audio tracks,
Yeah. So
okay, because you need the 2.
yeah, it
Okay,
requires
that
you to
makes
have 2 audio tracks. Yeah. That's the one thing that we effed up on the beginning. It was like, wow, we only had 1. So we had to
Yeah.
scrap it and do it again.
Interesting. I wonder how.
Yeah.
So you probably have to, because this recorder is going to record on one file, and
Yeah.
then I'll have a left and a right, and then I'll separate them, and then I'll do left, right, so that it's a full audio coming out. So that's probably going to need to be connected then to it.
You know best. I just know like there was something with the audio files and like the tracks, and I was like, it was kind of a disaster our first time using
Oh, wow,
Autopod
yeah. Okay,
because
gotcha.
we wanted to use it. That's why we filmed the
Yep.
podcast. But no, it's a time saver. Like it's insane if you're in the podcast business and you're not using it. Like, I mean, you should because it's
Yeah.
gonna save you a lot of time and money and effort.
Autopod.
So.
Yeah, I have it. Luke, I literally ask you like, what the hell does this charge? You're like, it might be a service subscription.
That's funny. Yeah.
That's so funny. It was
No,
Autopod.
it's definitely what's up.
Okay, well that's cool. Any other like workflow stuff that's super helpful?
Opus clip. Have you seen it?
No, it's that.
Oh my god! So you take a long form
Uh-huh.
and it chops you up like 15 or 20 shorts.
Okay, so we've tried that. We've
Which-
tried
which-
versions of that, and
what
the problem
platform?
that we had is we couldn't go back and edit it something differently. Is that still the problem?
I don't remember because I see usually the final product, but
Okay.
I know that Opus clip is pretty top in the top 2 or 3 that create these clips.
Yeah.
And I've had quite a few clients come to me like, "Oh, we're using Opus." I'm like, they know already because it's a time saver, man. You take like
Yeah.
a long form YouTube and you can create literally 20 pieces of content out of it, and it's good. It's not perfect,
Yeah.
but it's good. And
Yeah.
so you take 70% of them and you actually could use them. The other percent just kind of toss them.
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the other thing is like I actually really, really care about. Like I don't want to stretch the footage. So if it's an HD video from YouTube, I don't want to stretch that into a vertical video. It's going to be too
Yeah.
stretched. So right now we shoot everything 4K. We're probably going to have to upload it 4K, but then we could probably do that.
Yeah, no, it's for sure.
Yeah, that's my
try it
only,
out.
That's I know. That's like I get in my head about it. I'm like I know I should do this, but I like don't want to spend the time to like get it
No.
wrong before I get it right.
And you're a businessman. It's like a game changer for you.
Do you guys
I think.
use like what do you use for syncing?
Syncing?
Like syncing audio video, or is it just go straight to camera?
Too complicated of a question for me.
No, too far
Yeah,
down
down
the
the production space for me. Yeah,
That's
like
funny.
I said, we have 3 different, essentially we call it departments. We have a production side, the account management side, and then the advertising front. So basically there's components of everything that a client gets usually. It depends on the client, right?
Sure.
I'm not a production specialist. I know a lot being in the business now. Like I can tell you the cameras and I can tell you where things go. Like,
But you're
I've
just
nev-
kind of you're,
I've
you're,
never-
you're orchestrating.
Yeah, I've never actually edited full length stuff myself. So of course in shot and different stuff on like the phone I've done, but like
Yeah.
nothing crazy. So
Yeah,
I don't
super
really
cool,
know.
man. What let's talk a bit about marketing. I mean, like for me, like you were just asking about my ads today. It was well because we're even talking now because of the Celsius ad.
Yeah,
which
dude.
is a BTS spoof spec ad, whatever you want to call it.
It's cool. Like I think you have really disruptive ads. Like I think it catches your attention, and I think there's another company I think out of Utah that does similar concepts
Yeah,
like you.
yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah.
I love it. I
like
love when I
Maddox
see.
Labs kind of thing. Or?
I forget the name.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it just for me, I see good creative, and I'm like, nice.
What's up?
yeah. No, it's like
yeah,
nice.
it's like, but it's cool to talk to people. So like that's like my strategy right now. Is like I
Yeah.
just make those cool behind the scenes videos, and it opens up and I run them as like a DM ad, and it opens
Yeah.
up a world of like, hey, can I do this? Can I do that? And then it even comes into like this kind of stuff too.
yeah, conversations.
What
and stuff.
have you noticed? What works for you guys? I know you kind of said you kind of scale it up or scale it down at will,
Yeah.
but like what's you guys been your thing?
You know, I'm not gonna lie. I've paid a lot of consultants and different specialists on how to do
Yeah.
ads and how
I
to
mean,
get with clients.
In fairness, I had to pay $5K to someone just to be like, hey, this ad is great, or this video is great, run it as a DM ad. I was like, well, okay. It
You're like-
worked amazing. Thank you, because that was cool.
No, it's super valuable. Like
Yeah.
I definitely had those 5K consultants
Yeah.
where like I'll make 15K that month just from that what he told me,
Exactly.
and so I'm like,
Yeah.
it's worth the money. And I think a lot of people are shy to invest that sometimes, but it's like you're taking knowledge that someone's already mastered and applying it to your business right away. And so, yeah, from everything from like landing page booking calls to getting clients to lead forms and CRMs and cold email. Like I've definitely, I think I've done a lot of learning in the last 3 years because I want to just like be able to turn on my company and say, I want more clients.
Yeah, no, totally.
And I think that's a power because, when you need more clients or you need money, you could just get it. It takes work, right? You still have to do sales calls and you have to do all the onboarding processes, but it puts you in a good place as a business, especially in the creative
100%.
space.
I think the hardest part about it though is just like at least for me in that, because I'm kind of in that process right now, but like solidifying products to sell.
Yeah,
Like
offers.
for so long, I was just like, I let every deal be its own thing, and I was just getting so fatigued trying to put something together that made sense.
I mean, from the proposal process to the onboarding process to the execution, like having a single offer, it makes it so much easier to scale.
Is that pretty much what you guys do?
No, and you know what's funny is like, I am passionate about helping clients in the sense of like, what are your problems?
Yeah.
All right, let's figure out a solution. And I haven't disciplined myself to stop doing that and saying, this is my offer.
I understand.
And I'm going to scale this offer to like 10 or whatever, right? Like I'm just like, so I'm kind of, I know what I'm doing wrong.
I'm literally right there with you.
Yeah.
Like I am literally right there with you.
It's tough because I have friends that have done 7 figures quick on one offer, very simple, very
one product, one avatar.
Yeah, it's insane, and I admire them for the discipline. I just feel like a time will come where I come up with an offer that I really enjoy and I can package perfectly.
No, totally. And there is a place for both worlds.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm trying to figure that out too.
You know who does this really well is Eddie Malouf. Like he has, obviously he calls it his windmill agency or his whatever agency, which is pretty much like single offers, niche down. Yeah. And then he has like his more boutique service, which is pretty much like what I think a lot of agency owners that stay in the game are going to end up doing. Yeah. And I've even considered it. How do I, I've even tried to rebrand like Millennials Boutique and just Millennials Digital, which is like one of them is like the Windmill, which is like same service, really simple offer. And then you have your more boutique stuff, which is bigger clients, bigger retainers, bigger project. And so the toughest side is operation, right? Because you have one team and they try and do everything, right? So I'm really looking at the international space to start to hire for simpler solutions and the more, because there's a lot of businesses in the marketplace, and that's actually what inspired me originally is the small SMBs of the world that need to just make content and post it, right? That need a social media manager on hand, that need a content specialist. And so I don't want to ever leave that space because I feel like that's what I'm true to. But at the same time, I've developed enough skill set and enough, I guess, ability to help bigger clients and more boutique solutions. So I'm very attracted to that because it's fun, challenging, and as a marketer, you always want to be challenged, right? Yeah. And so I'm kind of like torn between the two, like scale up an offer that's simple, or like help clients that need special work, right?
Dude, totally. That is the conundrum, right? Like I feel that even just today on some calls, I was like, here's what we do, but like, it sounds like you need this, so let's do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, it does work to a degree. I think it's just a matter of how.
I think it's the biggest thing as a business owner, a difficulty we face, because we dictate what direction we take it, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
And so like, it's kind of on our shoulders to be like, well, how are we gonna handle this next proposal? How are we gonna handle this next pitch, right? Because we close the deals. And so, but yeah, it's something that, I have friends on both sides of the spectrum and they're both doing really well. And so it's just kind of cool to like have the freedom to just decide what you want to do, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's cool. It is cool. There is something to systematizing something, but there is something to the creative freedom of doing something new.
Having just creative solutions that are like, all right, I might have to do a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and maybe have some influencers in the mix. And
you're just like a problem solver. That's perfect.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, we're doing some of the same stuff, but also trying to systematize some stuff too. So I realize it's easier to come to a sales call when you're like, hey, this is what we do. Yeah. And then you can get a little bit of feedback and then maybe adjust a little bit. Yep. But if you don't come up with like, this is what we do, then it's like, it's all like weird.
I had a consultant I paid, and then like the majority of the service that they gave me was creating a sales deck for when we get on these calls, the onboarding calls or the sales calls. And it was just like, follow this page to this page. The last page is showing the number of what it cost. And that's do you want it? Yes or no? Yeah. And it was like so simple. And, I have like now multiple niches that I've done these presentations for, but it's at the same time, I don't know, like, I think that's where you need a sales team and you need to build out like all those other assets, because it comes for me, like as an owner of the agency, I don't want to be doing that all day. I want to be challenged. I want to talk business, right? How's your business?
Yeah. So that being said, like, what is like your passion in this space? I don't want to be like, what's your passion? But like in your space, like, what is your thing that you like doing?
I think like business consulting is something I'm really finding my niche in, because, like helping a business understand, like, even if they bring me in as a consultant to talk about what their marketing team is doing, or maybe how they're budgeting the marketing dollars or how they're spending it, or some of the service providers are using that might not be giving them the best deals, right? Like I love that, because I'm coming in from experience in the space of marketing and knowing scrappy services, really high-end services, knowing how to work with operations and teams. And so I like that a lot. And also I like to be at the forefront of the business, not on like, oh, you guys are just the marketing department, right? It's like, oh, but I get revenue. I get how that matters, right?
Yeah, like you understand the full scope of business.
Yeah, and so like I like to be involved at that level, because maybe it's just been a blessing that I've been working with elite people like Ed and Brian Underwood that are like, they're the owners of these companies, and they're $100 million plus companies, and it's like you're with them, you know, hearing them solve problems all day, and you're like, that's cool. I want to be like him. And so that's kind of like, I think what's really like, I'm trying to get to the next level. That's kind of why I stepped into software. It's like, you know, you need those multiples, you need those exits to really kind of
to get where you want to go.
Yeah, exactly. As a business owner,
even be where you want to be.
Exactly.
Or end where you want to end. That's all that to say.
Yeah.
All the above, but it's all to what end. And
yeah. So, you know, like agency services, great living, great money. But I think, you know, if you want to compete in business, you have to have businesses. Yeah. You have to have exits, you have to have wins, and some losses too, of course. But I really find I'm gravitating a little bit more towards that. I'm getting older. I'm like, I want to do more of that. So when I see opportunities like the one I told you I might be going to Dubai, is like, I get to be involved in the business, not just the marketing side. Yeah, that's exciting. That's, cool. That's like, let's do it. Let's rock. let's make some big things happen. So yeah, that's kind of my current passions. But
amazing.
Yeah, it's been super cool.
So family, I just had my first daughter. She's 4 months old. I know you mentioned you're a family man as well.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, it's the best. It's like the biggest gift you could ever have. I think like Elon Musk said it best, like having children is the purpose of life. It's like, I believe it. And I think
I'm in the thick of it right now. It's hard.
The first couple months and the first year, probably the hardest, but after, you know, after that, it just becomes like, you know, a blessing even more because it's easier. It's just cool, right? And I think, you know, the diapers and not knowing what they want, that's just like they're speaking a language that you don't know yet.
Yeah.
Once you start to speak their language, it's like, especially the moms, like, I mean, my girl did the best at like knowing exactly what the baby wanted. I was always the working dad and she was a stay-at-home mom, so like she did a phenomenal job. But yeah, the first year is definitely like the sleep and all of this. But no, dude, it's awesome. I think it balances business. I think it's like a good way to like recharge yourself in a sense of like innocence and purity and happiness, and like they look at business like it's like aggressive and gnarly. So yeah,
it's very true. How old are your kids?
6 and it's about to be 3. The boy, he's the youngest. Yeah,
so, boy and a girl.
Yeah, girl's the oldest and the boy's the youngest. Yeah.
I've heard that there's value in having an older girl.
Oh my god, it's amazing. She's like a saint in the sense of like she's, you know, she's not a boy. The boy's like, I'm
gonna go crazy.
And so
then
she helps.
The older girl can help kind of wrangle and
you know, she's a leader. She's like, you know, tells him what's right, what's wrong.
That's super cool.
And so no, it's definitely been awesome having him that way. So it's been cool.
Dude, that's super cool.
Yeah, and it's definitely something like, you know, I tell my girl all the time I want to have like 6 kids, and she's like, you're not having them. And I'm like, no, it's cool because I think.
How many kids do you want? You want 6?
Yeah, 6 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, a little bit more. I just think they're great. You know, like I think we started young on purpose. We're like, you know, we think we're like 25, 26 when we started. Okay, gotcha. So we're like, cool, like in a year or 2 we can have another one, and then 2-3 years we can have another. You know, just like
she's pretty on the plan with the.
She fights me on it.
Yeah,
but she's like,
how many does she want? That's funny.
I don't know. She doesn't really say. Yeah, but she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, because she wants 5 too.
Nice.
But now we have 1, and now I'm like, oh.
Don't be intimidated by it. It'll be better.
Because 1 is so like it's just harder than the rest, right?
Yeah, the first one is just like you're just like, holy crap, what did I sign up for? And then after that, you're like, cool, like this is.
Bro, I still have days where I wake up and I'm like, I can't believe you're mine, and I'm like, you're my, like I love her obviously.
I have a 6-year-old, and I do the same
you're my
thing.
You're my everyday responsibility.
Yeah. I have a 6-year-old, and I still say the same thing.
Crazy, dude.
I'm like, I'm your dad. Like I just, you know, like I'll just talk to her like my friend, and like we'll have conversations, and I'm like, I'm supposed to be guiding you in the right direction. Yeah. Just like, but like in a very like.
I'm sure
way.
You are.
It's
so funny.
I am, but it's just funny. You think about like, oh, you're a parent. You know, like you think about your parents. You're like, they're so old, and you think about yourself. You're like, oh yeah, I'm doing that too. At the same time, you're just, you know, you just gotta love them. I think that's the biggest thing is like the more you can love them, the better they'll turn out, and it's really all you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, how do you like manage these like longer trips? Because you're gonna be here for a week.
I'll bring my family out this Wednesday, so like they'll come out and spend a week out here with me. So like I try not to spend more than a week without them, just because like I miss them, and then like, you know, like I don't want the kids to be like, Dad's always been gone. And you know, it's funny, like when my firstborn was born, I think her first year, I was home maybe like a month. Like I was traveling a lot, and I'm talking about like long trips. And so I realized after that, like I talked to some super successful guy. He's like, he had a really bad relationship with his daughter, and he's like, one of the things I regret in my life is not spending enough time with my kids or giving them enough attention. And I was like, ooh, thanks for that.
You can't, dude. Thank you, because you cannot.
Yeah.
You probably can't go back and.
No, he said
that.
his daughter hates him, and I was like,
bro.
oh, I would hate
thank
that.
you.
To my
Dude, that scares the out of me.
Yeah, so like no matter how big I get in business or how big how busy I ever get, like I still want to have them involved heavily. Where like anywhere I go, like I'll just bring them along, and it's fun. Like
that's
my
cool.
girl misses a lot of school.
Dude,
but
I'm kind of like that's amazing. I love that, and I'm not there yet. Like I right now as it is, like work needs to be work and home needs to be home. Just because she's so little, she's 4 months.
Yeah.
Like I think I like helped my friend shoot a wedding, or no, I did my friends a solid and shot their wedding because I was going to be there, and they were just like, hey, can you just like, we don't need a full thing, just like give me something.
Yeah.
And like the idea of having like my daughter there and doing like that sounded like hard, and then I have to be on time, and like like it's being like having kids and being on time are two different things.
Well, I for sure will say I separate my space, like when I'm with clients or when I'm with work, like they're not that
they're
near.
separate things.
Yeah, they're like, but they're in the near city. Like
I feel like I get sucked into the parenting part of it as I'm trying to like be in the business like mindset. I don't know. It's just like a tough thing. I know what you. I imagine as it gets older, it'll be like easier.
Yeah, the more reps you get at it, the easier it becomes. Like right now, I'm like, it's like dad's working. Like he has calls, and like I'll be on calls, and they'll understand already. Like they get it. Yeah. Mom tells them you got to be quiet. You can't be talking too loud, and it's great. They're supportive as well. Like they're 6 and 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just making sure that you understand that your kids are expecting you to hang out with them and wanting to.
No, for sure.
You got to like turn off the business side and like be able to miss calls and be able to not answer text messages and be okay with it, right? Like it's something I always wanted, is like to be that busy business guy.
Yeah.
And now that it's kind of happening, I'm like, what did I want? Because it's like you have so many expectations from so many people, and like, but at the same time, I think we're in a blessed position to be able to like, decide, okay, I'm on now, I'm off now. And
absolutely.
So like, I think the family thing, like I said, it's balanced, because I could be like, no one could really be mad at you because you're prioritizing your children.
No, for sure.
It's like everyone has children.
Like you just bring it up, and it's like, okay, I understand.
They understand. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and as long as you're not lying and being inauthentic about it, it's totally okay, right? And
I think the tough part for me is like I am in the most demanding, like I have the most demanding home life right now that I've ever had, and I'm trying to do this thing here with these guys and trying to lead by example and be like, we need to be here and focused and present. I'm like not here. Like I'm focused and present, and I'm tired, but like I'm like not physically here all the time. Or like I'm like, man, I just got to make sure I set the right example. So like doing both of those things right now has been. But
it's the biggest challenge for you to become a better you, right? Like
for sure.
And that's I think what we don't really look at sometimes is like these stretches are really good stretches of like, oh, like I'm challenged. Like I've experienced it many times where I'm like, we got to be more accountable. We got to be more on time. And I'm like looking at myself, I'm like, you got to answer your text. You got to be on top of your calls.
Dude, that's what, okay, seriously, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm trying to do that. Yeah. I'm like in that process of like
it's a
trying
forever
to be the best
process, dude.
But I think it's like, I think my counter like balance to that is like, okay, so I'm not as available as I was. So it's like, but like I can set deadlines for myself. I can set times for things. I'm responsive. I'm like, and people know when I'll be in and I'll be out. And then like, I think that kind of sets the tone. I think, Luke, what do you think? Does that set the tone? Like, I feel like I'm trying to be as like present as I can be. But sometimes I'm just not here.
Yeah.
But okay.
That means you're on the pulse of your business, which is phenomenal. Like I think that's when you're not on the pulse, people can tell. Like your team would be able to like, I'm not.
Yeah, I think that's my worst fear. I think it's my worst fear for you guys to think that I'm checked out.
I've been a victim to being checked out, where I'm like, man, I should care more. And it's like not a place that I just didn't want to care. It's like I get caught up in life. Like life is real, and you have other worries outside of your business sometimes that are taking your attention. And so I've had to really circle myself back in and be like, hey, people depend on you.
Yeah, and I think that's the people depend on you part never really leaves me. And I've got big plans for everyone here. Like Luke knows, we talk about it all the time, like where I'd like my vision for his life and his vision for his life are pretty like awesome. Like locked in. And we have talks about it. It helps me kind of stay grounded too, because like I have to take some responsibility for where we're going. Like if I expect him to show up and do his best work, like I have to, like I also look at where I think we're going to be next year and be like, hey, does this sound good to you? Like, we're going to be in a double of where we're like, you're going to make double what you make now. That sounds pretty good, right? So like I make those promises. We got to make sure to keep them.
You can't ever lose sight in that, because I've done it in the past where I forget to continue communicating the vision or where we're going to my team. And they lose, I don't want to say drive, but they lose momentum because you didn't communicate the things you had in your head. And once you share those, they're like, well, why didn't you tell us? I'm like, I forgot.
That like, I don't know. And sometimes I like think that I probably overshare. I'm like, no, we're doing it. I'm like, I keep it present, but
communication and open communication.
I try to keep these guys like in the loop and just to let them know that we're going the right place. No one ever wants to stay in the same place.
Yeah, no, 100%.
For even a year or much less multiple years. So
The communication's key. And I think like I've, doing this whole agency space has been like a very good developer for me as a person. Cause like I've definitely not communicated enough, and I'm like, well, why are people not trying as hard? It's like, well, I'm responsible. So it's always like this. It's like,
yeah, dude. So you're looking in a mirror. Anytime you give criticism, you can pretty much throw a mirror up.
It's a direct reflection of your own actions.
Exactly,
and
bro.
It's such a hard pill to swallow sometimes because you're just like, I need to be better. I need to
But I like
harder.
it though.
No, it's
like
great
because it's real time. It's real time feedback of like how you are as a leader.
100%. And I think this is where I like to step into personal development a lot. And like I was talking earlier about the whole no caffeine thing. Like I did it sheerly because I wanted to become a better me. Yeah. And I'm not saying that drinking caffeine's bad. I'm just saying it's a hard thing for me to do because I drink.
So wait, just to give it like some context. So you quit caffeine, and how long has it been?
Since my birthday in May. So May,
June, July, August, September. So like it's been 4 months of no caffeine.
No coffee, no pre-workouts, and it's hard because I'm a gym
and
rat.
You just quit cold turkey?
Yeah, I just decided the next day no caffeine.
And how's it been?
It's hard. It's hard because you have days where you're just tired and you're like, this would be great with the Celsius right now, but you can't have it. And so you're like, I have to grind through it.
So you miss caffeine?
For sure.
Because have you ever heard those people who give up caffeine and then they're just like their energy is just like sustained and smooth?
It is like that.
Okay.
It definitely, I can.
But you definitely want the.
But it's like you have times where you'll go to lunch and you'll have a big meal and you're like, I need to kick off 4 more hours of laptop work and I need caffeine to like, but you can't have it there. Yeah. So you it's but like I like these things because it challenges me, right? I try to be a better human. I try to be better. I'm pretty, I guess, spiritual in the sense of I try to be closer to God. So like I think 100%. Extracting certain substances or things make me closer, alcohol, etc. And so like I feel constantly challenging myself to become better. It like helps me shape myself as a human. So
dude, 1,000,000%. The best thing I ever did for myself in that realm was doing 75 hard, like 6 years ago.
Nice.
5 years ago. 75 hard gets such a bad rap because they're like, that's not sustainable. And I was like, I don't care. Like it's not about being sustainable. It's about proving to yourself that you can do what you're gonna say.
No,
and then you just take, and then on your daily life, you just take elements of it. Okay, Monday through Friday, I'm a rock star. I'm stout. I do this thing. Monday through Friday. Well, let's say Sunday through Friday, and then like Friday comes, you can let off a little bit. Saturday, you relax a little bit. And by relax, I mean if you have a drink, you have a drink, and if you don't work out once on the weekend, like you're not gonna die.
Yeah.
So like you know what I mean. But like I loved that. I think it helped shape me. It helped shape so many of my thoughts,
100%,
and my goals and who I want to be.
No, yeah, I've seen a lot of people do 75 hard and like the best outcomes, and it's like it's so funny because it's just a challenge between you and yourself on decision making, right? And it's I've been a big fan of David Goggins. I actually got to meet him with another client.
How is he?
Dude, awesome. I didn't know who he was at the time. This was quite some time ago. It was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay,
I'm like, this guy's intense. He's super cool. Come to find out he's David Goggins.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this guy's freaking awesome.
So in person, he was awesome?
Yeah, we were in a penthouse suite, and he was just chopping it up with my client, and I was there, and I was like, he's a speaker for the next day, apparently, and I was like, this guy's cool.
Because he's really intense online.
Yeah.
Is he really intense in person?
Yeah. I mean, from what I remember, he was like David Goggins. He was that dude. You're like, who's this guy?
That's wild.
But I'll put on stuff like David Goggins, or just when I need that pickup of like mindset, energy. I'm like, stop being a little job. just go. Like lack of sleep, whatever. Like,
bro, no caffeine, man. That's wild.
It's cool. It's I have the hardest time because I go to the gym every day and I like to get a good pump but I found alternatives like no caffeinated pre-workouts.
Yeah, like a non-stim.
Some beta-alanine. Yeah, so it's
gives you a little kind of a feeling change.
Yeah,
nothing crazy. But I've done the no caffeine thing but no longer than 30 days or something.
Yeah, no, just challenge, and challenges are good.
Bro, no caffeine's wild.
Yeah, I think that I didn't know alcohol for like a year and a half or a year.
Nice.
That was hard, but I think my life was the best it's ever been, just from a state of happiness.
Yeah.
I think just things like that you got to try out in your life.
No, for sure.
Because I think a lot of us forget that like they're substances.
How much do you drink now in like your regular?
I had one drink, or not one drink. I had a few drinks in Nashville about 2 weeks ago, and that was the first time since May.
Okay, so a while.
Yeah.
Damn. So you take long stretches away from alcohol.
And I still don't I don't really plan on drinking right now. Just it was my buddy's birthday, and
that's
I was
cool.
like, it was like celebration for real. And
yeah, dude. I mean, the thing about drinking is it always sounds so good, but then like you're in it, and it's not that great.
Shout out to the Whoop, man. This has helped me realize how much it affects your body.
The Whoop does?
Dude, I'm like, my sleep sucks, my recovery sucks, like, because you start looking at your respiratory rate, you like HRV, and you're like, wow, alcohol. And even I tested a cigar one time. I was like, I want to see what a cigar does to me. Wrecked me. got terrible sleep. I was
Really?
like, not smoking cigars. Yeah.
Dude, so I have an Oura ring, and I know I get those measurements. I need to learn what they mean, though.
Yeah, that's the hardest part. Like I've been on my for like 4 years plus, like
Yeah.
consecutively, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I now know what things mean. It's like at first I was like, sure, let's look at it, but like now it's
That's
like
so interesting.
I'm
What's
dialed.
HR? So HRV. What are the main 3 things that you look for? On the web?
HRV, resting heart rate, and what's the last one? Respiratory heart rate, and then HRV.
And then just overall sleep too.
Yeah, sleep,
So
strain.
so cigars, any like caffeine and
Caffeine,
alcohol.
I don't really recall.
Okay.
I don't remember affecting my sleep.
But those 3, like those 2 things, then just cigars and alcohol, those things
Yeah.
like wreck your score on there.
Yeah, like it'll be red for sure, like
Really?
guaranteed. Even if it's like 1 or 2 drinks, like it depends on the drink. I've tried one and seen how to test. I think sake was the only one that didn't really wreck my sleep,
Oh, cool.
but everything else had pretty much
So
destroyed.
sushi night every night then.
Right? Yeah, no, it's the best.
Sure.
I think it's obviously a very clean alcohol, but yeah, no, I think understanding how important sleep is when you're a high demanding business person is like super crucial, because like you can go 5 days with 3 to 5 hours of sleep, and you have to be sustaining that because you have a demand of whatever you're doing, right? And you can't do that and be drinking, because then your recovery's, I've had nights where I'll take 2 hours of sleep, fly somewhere, and I'll wake up and have a whole day ahead of me and feel great because I had a 80%, 90% score on my recovery on 2 hours of sleep.
Oh.
So I had great HRV, great respiratory, like my sleep, my 2.5
So by
hours.
doing the other things, you didn't need as much sleep for that time.
Yeah, or you take, some magnesium to help you get that deep sleep. So like
Nice.
just really calculating how you go about
What
like,
magnesium do you take?
calm.
Calm. Oh, so like the jug. I have that, or like the
Yeah.
jar, the big
Little
plastic
teaspoon,
jug.
yeah.
What do you plastic? Not a jug.
Yeah,
Not
it's
a
like
jar.
a jug
Container, whatever.
Yeah.
It's okay. I have Calm too. You like that?
Yeah, it's cool.
Okay, I gotta try.
Yeah, there's just whatever. I don't use it all the time. I use it when I feel like I need it for certain things, like strategic placements.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, just like I think that's one of the biggest things, like how hard can you go? And people are sometimes amazed, like, dude, this guy didn't even sleep. And I'm like, I slept really well.
Yeah, just not as long as you think.
Yeah. I might take a nap. I might take like an hour nap to
For
make
sure.
up for it. And
But when I don't sleep enough, I feel it in
Oh, yeah.
every cell of my body.
yeah, your brain isn't fully functioning.
Right.
Like that's the hardest part, because as a business owner, you have to be fully functioning.
I know it.
Yeah.
No, don't I know it, bro?
Yeah, so the cool stuff to talk about, I think that's something that a lot of people just forget in business, is like you have to be optimal. So like the whole like celebrating too much might hurt
Yeah.
in a productive way. Like I'm like,
Yeah,
wait,
like the work hard, play hard things. Probably it's not in my wheelhouse. Like not.
it's
you
not
know.
real. I mean, it could be real for some, but like if you're really like ambitious and you really want to accomplish a lot, like how much play can you? I mean, don't get me wrong. There's playing and then there's having a good time. I think having a good time could be hanging out with friends and family and
Sure.
maybe just having dinner, right? Enjoyable.
Yeah.
Going to the club and 3-4 a.m. having a bottle is like the opposite. That's
Too much play.
Yeah, that's like a
I'm
different
gonna
type
hurt
of
for
play.
3 days.
Yeah, exactly. Especially as you get older. Yeah, I'm in Miami right now, so like I know that life a little bit.
Bro, it's just the hangovers, like the anxiety hangovers for forever.
Yeah, but if you go and you like don't drink, wake up the next day, cool, I can go work out.
Yeah. It's such a hard thing to do. The going out kind of is like a stimulus for drinking.
Yeah, it is. But it's funny. I've gotten comfortable with having my clients, which are usually the ones that I go out with,
Yeah.
be okay with me not drinking.
Yeah,
And
for
it's first is weird because it's like, like they expect you to,
Yeah,
kind of.
for
But it's
sure.
like once you kind of set like a reputation for yourself, like
It's easy.
it kind of becomes like, oh no, he's a fit freak. He won't drink. And so it's like kind of like, all right, cool, makes it easier for
Tight.
you.
No,
yeah.
no.
And it makes then you're like, all right, cool, and I get to wake up tomorrow and feel great.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's
It's hard though
super
because
smart.
you want to make your clients. You want to be a yes, ma'am, yes, sir for all your clients, but you shouldn't be at all the
I
time.
just feel like it's I feel like it's more work to go to a work event that's like a drinking event and not drink. I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh my god, all right, I'm going home.
Yeah, no, it's hard playing the part of like woo when you're like sober as heck and just like
Yeah, but it is sleeping, bro. Sleeping, recovery, all that stuff. So nice. The Oura Ring is my first kind of
Nice.
step into all that, but I've liked it.
Oura Ring's great. Aura and Whoop are like the best. Do you know who Eman is? Eman Ghazi?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, he actually launched Aura's first campaigns initially when he started the e-commerce.
Cool.
Yeah, he's actually in Dubai. I can't like yeah, he's big in the SMA space,
Gotcha.
coaching people to start their agencies and stuff.
Yeah.
I bought his course. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Damn, dude.
But yeah,
Well, all right.
cool
brother.
stuff.
Well, dude, thank you so much for coming in,
It's
man.
been a pleasure. It's
Dude,
been awesome.
next time you're in town, you'll come back and do it again.
When you're in Miami,
Dude,
we'll do
let's
one.
go.
Yeah,
I know,
no.
right? You have the podcast out there too. So
Yeah, the People Project. Got to put out more episodes, but
let's get it, bro.
yeah,
I'm down.
it'd be cool to have you.
I'm super down.
Yeah,
All right, man. Appreciate you, dog.
Sounds good.
Good job. Good
Sick.
work, guys.